Hello there, I personally feel this is one of the most important videos I've made so far today. In this video, I'm going to show you how to budget and save money. I'm going to give you a number of money management tips and a complete money management system. I'll show you how different people manage their money from people who really don't have a clue. And I'm literally doing it like a computer game in levels. So by the time you get to level 6, you've got control of your finances and you've got an automatic way to just increase your wealth. And that's obviously what most people are aiming for. There are levels beyond that, and I will show those in a future video. That's beyond the scope of this video. It would just simply be too long. So I will make a follow-up video for that. And in order to understand the follow-up video, really you would need to have watched this video first, because it's going to cover some of the basics. If you're new to this channel, welcome. My name's Andy, and on this channel I like to talk about money and success. If you're interested in either of those two topics, please do be sure to hit that subscribe button down below, hit the notification bell, and then you get notified every time I release a video. And if you enjoy this kind of content, please do be sure to give it a thumbs up. That really helps the YouTube algorithm, and I appreciate that a lot. With that said, let's move straight on to the first slide and let's see this money management system that I've been telling you about. Here we go. So here we are on the first slide. You start off with level 1. Level 1, you get a job. You've left school, left university, left college, you get a job. So you've got some wages coming in, and so you open a current account to put them in. Now then, at this point, what happens to a lot of people is the money comes in and then they start spending it. They don't seem to bother to budget in many instances, and the money just vanishes. This is a terrible state to be in. Hopefully this isn't you. Sometimes this happens and the person doesn't even make it till the end of the month, and that's when they end up having to get a payday loan. A payday loan is a terrible thing. You do not want a payday loan. Please notice that knocks us down to level -1. So you've now gone down a level with the payday loan. It can be even worse than that. You may also get a credit card. So this person gets a credit card that has a high interest and they don't pay it back in full each month. And worse still, they're not even getting any points on the credit card. And the debt is just spiraling. So I'm going to assume that you know better than to get the credit card. And we're going to assume you know better than to get the payday loan, and we'll get us back to level 0. Let's see what the next level is. So this brings us on to level 3. What happened to level 1 and 2, I hear you ask? That's a very good question. Let me explain. Level 1 and 2 are what happened when level 3 goes wrong. So level 3, what can happen is the person can get the wages coming into the account, and then they could be moving money into their savings account, but not enough money into the savings account. And they may, for example, decide that they need a car, and they need a new car because they want it to be reliable so it can definitely get them to work. So they don't have enough money in the savings account to buy the car, so they take out a car loan. That knocks them back to level 2, because now they've got the debt of the car loan, a depreciating liability, something that's going down in value. A car is not an asset. Anybody who tells you a car is an asset is a liar. A car is a liability, okay? Promise you this. Anything that goes down in value and takes money out of your pocket is a liability. That is what a car does. Simple as that. With the exception of a taxi, maybe, or if you're a builder and you've got a van, then you can call it an asset, but that's not what we're talking about here. So this is a car. So this is a car that someone has purchased that's more than they could afford. So it's emptied their savings account. They've used the savings as the deposit for the car, taken a loan for the remainder, and then that's taken them down from level 3 to level 2. Now then, what would make them fall to level 1? Well, they might want a holiday, and now they've got no money in their savings account to pay for the holiday. Or they might want a big new TV. And so what they might decide to do is they'll take out a bank loan so that they can get a big new TV and a holiday, and they'll put that on a bank loan. So now they've got the car loan that still needs paying off, as well as the bank loan to pay off. So they're paying interest on both of those things, which have no value. They're going down in value. They're not assets. They're not putting any money in your pocket. And their savings account, bless it, is empty because there wasn't enough money in the savings account in the first instance. Clearly, this is not a good situation to be in. So there are lessons to be learned here. We want to get rid of the bank loan, and we want to get rid of the car loan. And what we want is for the money to come into the current account and then go into the savings account where it will be happy. And then we need to learn to budget what is left as living costs. And that's what we need to do. So there are some traps we need to avoid. The first big trap to avoid is payday loans. Please avoid payday loans. They are the worst thing ever. A payday loan, I've seen payday loans where you can borrow £100 and end up paying back £3,000. I'm not even joking. It is insane. The interest on payday loans is ridiculous. So avoid payday loans at all costs. High interest credit cards, particularly if you're not paying them back in full each month, should be avoided. Only time you should have a credit card will be covered later on. It should be if you're earning points on it and if you're paying it back in full every single month. In this instance, it was a high interest credit card and it was not being paid off in full every month. Therefore, it was a bad thing. A bank loan, one that's being used for a depreciating liability, not an asset. That would be a very bad thing, a bank loan. And car loans. A car loan, which again, is a depreciating asset, probably one of the biggest depreciation assets most people buy, a car. It goes down in value, it rusts, and ultimately ends up worth virtually nothing. So a car is not a good investment, and a car loan is certainly not something you want. You need to be able to save the money up in advance to buy a car. So once you've learned how to avoid those traps, the next thing you need to do before you can really move on to level 4, what tends to happen here is level 4 people know they need to budget. So they might have experienced some of this, or they might have talked to a friend, or they might have watched a video like this or read some books, but they've learned they need to make a budget. Now, if you don't know how to make a budget, I'll quickly run you through that now. What you need to do is make a list of all of your expenses. Literally look over the past few months. What have you been spending? Write down everything. How many takeaways you're having, how much food you're spending on food at the supermarket. How much is your phone bill? How much is your credit card bill if you've got a credit card? How much is your rent or mortgage if you're paying mortgage? What bills do you pay? Literally write everything down. How much do you spend on clothes? How much do you spend on drinking? You know, if you're drinking out, going to nightclubs or pubs or even restaurants. All of that, takeaways, all needs to be written down, everything. So list it all so you know what you're spending. Once you've got that list, you can work out what you're spending each month. From that, you can make a budget on what you should be spending. So your budget is your target spend, if you like. That's what you should be spending. So you might have been spending way too much on takeaways or way too much on restaurants, and decide you want to spend less. You want to just go out once per month, set a figure on that, and write that on your budget. And once you know that list of expenses that you're going to spend and going to stick to, that's your budget set there. So that's your expenditure list. Then you want to look at your income. How much you got coming in? Have you just got one source of income? Is it just your job? Is there a way you could increase that? Could you get a pay rise? Or could you maybe get an additional job or a side hustle or start a little business to get additional money coming in? Because what you need really for level 4 to be successful is to be having a big difference between your income and your expenditure. And you'll see why in a moment, but you need to make sure there's a difference between your income and expenditure. Some of the things that people typically spend too much money on, I'll tell you one that me and my wife used to spend too much money on when she was just my girlfriend before we were husband and wife. So we're going back quite a few years now, like 17 years ago, I believe this was. We literally spent £1,300 a month eating out. I worked it out one month. It was insane, an absolutely insane amount of money. Obviously, once we realised that, we stopped it. And the clue should have been we were going to 4 different Chinese restaurants and all of them knew us by name. We'd walk in and they knew us by name. That's a very bad sign. If you are going to a restaurant so frequently that they know you by name, you are going there too much. Look down. If you can't see your feet, it's because there's something in the way. It means you're eating out too much. There you go, I've told you. But no, in all seriousness, we put on too much weight. And it was hurting our wallet. So to get a grip on your finances, don't eat out too much. Don't have too many takeaways. Better to cook. Okay, I remember I had one particular tenant once, and she had a brand new oven when she moved in. When she moved out, it was still a brand new oven, but she was always broke, this girl. She would literally spend her money at the pizza shop. She would get her money would come in, she would go and spend it at the pizza place, and literally it would be pizzas. Now, she had a brand new oven. There was a supermarket at the other end of her street. She could have gone to that supermarket, bought pizzas very, very cheaply, and for the price she was paying for one of these pizzas, she could have eaten for 3 weeks, or maybe 2 weeks. But do you know what I mean? The point is, it was bad use of money. So that's one thing that is very typical. Another typical thing people overspend on is their mobile phone bills. I saw one person paying over £180 a month on a mobile phone bill. Now, I don't know how that's even possible, but if you're spending more than £30 a month on your mobile phone bill, you're spending too much. Literally have a shop around, get that down. you can always reduce what you're paying on your phone bill, almost every time. Other simple things to do are, if you do have a car or transport, find a way of doing it cheaper. Don't have a car that's on finance. I've got a good friend of mine who literally, he used to point out people who had expensive cars. Now, if you know me, I don't have an expensive car. I could have an expensive car, but I don't have an expensive car. Now, there's a good reason for that. A car goes down in value. A car has no way of making you money. If you've got £20,000 sitting to one side, you could invest that £20,000 and you could have the income coming in from that. If you're in a car, if you put that £20,000 in a car, next year you're lucky if it's worth £15,000. The year after that, you're lucky if it's worth £10,000. You are losing money year on year in that car. And on top of that, you're having to pay to lose the money as well, because it needs new tyres, it needs an MOT, it needs servicing, it needs insurance, it needs the fuel. So a car is not a good investment. So you want to be keeping the costs down, basically. So that is the key. Okay, so assuming you've done that, you've made your budget, you've got yourself a difference, now we'll move on to level 4. So the level 4 person understands all of this. And the level 4 person, just the same, the wages still come into the current account, but this time, this person has thought about things and they've set up a number of different savings accounts. The first ones they've got is an emergency account. Now, if you're not sure what an emergency account is, please do check out my video about what is an emergency account. I've literally made one about it. It tells you what an emergency account is, how to set up an emergency account, how much money to put in an emergency account so you know how much you'd have set aside, how to calculate that. And I'll put a link to that in the description down below. Please do check that video out. Everyone should have an emergency account. First account. The next account this person set up is a car account. Now, the car account is to make sure that they've got enough money to be able to buy a car. They only spend the money that is in this account on the car. So if they don't have, if they see a car that costs more than the amount of money they got in that account, they won't buy that car. They'll buy a cheaper car. That's the point of this account. It's also for the maintenance and running costs of that car. I'll probably make another video that will list all of that, but you can quite simply make a list of what your annual running costs, how many tyres will it need per year, how much does a tyre cost, how many services does it need per year, how much does the service cost, what's the road tax, or whatever tax you have in whatever country you're watching this from. Does it need an MOT or safety certificate? What does it need? How much does all that cost? Add that all together, divide it by 12. That's how much to put into that account each month, plus whatever amount you're going to need for the future car that you're going to buy when this one eventually becomes defunct, because that's what happens with cars. Eventually you run them into the ground and they die and you need to buy a new one. This person's thought of that. That's what this car account is for. If you need me to make a detailed video about that, I probably will do that in a future video. And when I do, I'll whack a link in the description down below as well. So the next account is the home maintenance and improvements account. This account is for exactly what it says, for home maintenance and improvements. So it could be improvements to the home, such as redecorating, putting new carpet down, or maybe even you want a new fridge freezer. But it could also be the old fridge freezer broke, so you had no choice, you needed to buy a new fridge freezer. This takes the strain off your emergency account. This means that you can have a home that is continually getting nicer. You can be having nicer furniture. You can be making sure your home is nice, and you only spend the money that is in this account on things for your home. So it's a way to make sure your home is improving. You're creating a nice surroundings, and it also means that should something go wrong, you've got money there to deal with it. A tile blows off the roof, you can actually use the money out of this account, which takes some of that stress off the emergency account, which I appreciate. If all you've got is an emergency account, you would use the emergency account for that. But this person is level 4. They're beyond that now. They know that they should have an account set up dedicated just for their home improvements account, and that's what this account is for. I hope that makes sense. The next account this person set up is a holiday account. Notice how this avoids them the need for a car loan or a bank loan so far, because now they've got holiday accounts. So they work out how much money they want to spend each year on holidays, they divide that by 12, and that's the amount they put each month into their holiday account. This person's thought even further ahead than that, and this person's also thought of having a pension. And so they have a pension or retirement account, and the money will go into that every month as well. And some people on level 4, and this, not everybody does this, but some will also have the gifts account. Now, what this really is for making sure that you don't get in debt at Christmas or around birthdays, because I know that's an expensive time of year, particularly if you've got a big family. If you make a list of everybody that you give presents to, add up how much you spend on each person to make that one big amount. And remember, you need to make 2 lists, one for the birthday, one for the Christmas, add it all together, divide that number by 12. That's the amount to keep putting into this account. Now, when Christmas and birthdays come round, as long as you stick to the budget that you've put next to each person's name, you will always have enough money in this account to pay for the presents that you want to buy people. So you won't need to get in debt, which means January won't be as miserable as it was if you were getting in debt before. By the way, if you were in debt, please do check out my previous video I made, which was about how to get out of debt fast. I did make a video about that. Again, I'll put a link to that in the description below as well. And that goes through the absolute fastest way to get out of debt. And in fact, it shows you how to get out of debt and save at the same time, faster than any other method I've seen. So please do check that out. It'll be in the description below. So the money comes in. Now notice, very importantly, the money automatically goes from the current account at the same time to all of the savings accounts. So that would be set up by direct debit on the same day to go from the current account to the savings accounts, where it's quite happy money. It stays. And then you've made a budget and you've made sure that what's left in that current account covers your budget or your living costs. And that is what is left in your current account, enough money to pay your living costs. So that's level 4. So let's have a look at the rules for level 4. A little recap. Your savings accounts are paid into automatically the same day wages come in, or the day after, but don't leave it too long. If you get paid on the 25th of the month, you want your standing orders set up to go into your savings accounts the same or the next day. Don't delay. You then need to budget to live on what is left in the current account. That's important. And then obviously do not spend more than you earn. So that's level 4. Let's move on to level 5. Level 5 at first glance looks very similar to level 4. The key difference is now you've proven to yourself that you can manage your money. This person has control of their finances. They're not going to overspend. They're living within their means. So now it's the time to consider getting a points or cashback credit card. Notice it's a points or cashback credit card, one that gives you a benefit. You need to be getting some kind of benefit. So me and my wife, we use a joint credit card which has cashback, and we use that for our food shop and things like that. Then I actually have a mileage card as well, where I get air miles, which I use for my business expenses. In this example, choose one or the other. You just need the one credit card. That's what most people on level 5 do. You might be going for the air miles so that you can get your holidays, or you might be going for points at a supermarket. Whatever it is, it doesn't really matter. It could be cashback. But the point is, now your expenditure, which you're making anyway, and it is just on your normal everyday living expenses. So this credit card's purely being used to buy your fuel for your car or transport costs and the food that you put in your belly, your living costs, basically. As many of your living costs as you can to go on the credit card, and then are paid off from your current account. So you only spend the money that you were spending anyway. You're not spending anything additional. If, for example, you decide you want to put a holiday on your credit card, that's fine, only if you have the money in the savings account. So this person in this example would only put the money onto their credit card for a holiday if there was money in their holiday account to cover the holiday, and then they would transfer the money from the holiday account to the current account, so that when that direct debit came to pay off the credit card in full each month, as it should be set up to pay it off in full each and every month automatically, and that is critical. The money is there and it goes out and everything runs smoothly. And the same with car repairs. You could also put your car repairs on the credit card, but only if the money is in your car account already. I hope this is making sense. So you'll move it then from the car savings account to your current account, and then at the end of the month, or whatever date in the month that your credit card gets automatically paid, the money is already there to automatically pay it, so you do not have to worry, and it gets paid off in full each month. That will actually help your credit score. Your credit score will go up and up as a result of that, and you'll have the added benefit of getting the points, be that cashback or air miles, which can essentially lead to a free holiday, all of which is obviously good because you are going to be spending that money anyway, and you're in complete control of your finances at this stage. So this is a really good stage to get to. If you can only get to this stage, you've done good. If you can only get to stage 4, you've done good, okay? But we can do better than that. So let's have a look how we can do better than that. Oh, sorry. Before we do that, let's have a look at what happens with the money flow for stage 5. So level 5, the money comes into the current account, it goes to the savings account automatically again on the same day, where it is of course very happy money. It then goes via the credit card to the living costs, which are budgeted, so you know you have enough money in the current account to pay that credit card off in full every single month. So what are the rules for level 5? Level 5 rules. Savings accounts are paid into automatically the same day wages come in, automatically, exactly the same as it was in level 4. Do not spend more than you earn. Again, you're living within a budget. You've made your budget and that is all you're spending on that credit card, not a penny more. Earn points or cash back on the credit card used for essential living expenses such as food and transport, and the credit card is paid back in full each month automatically. That is so important. I can't stress how important it is to pay that credit card in full every single month automatically. Please do that. Let's see how we can do even better though. So after level 5, we move on to level 6. Now level 6, as you can see here, looks just like level 5. The difference being the person who has made it to level 6 has made the decision that they are going to be wealthy. So much so, they have started themselves a wealth account, where each month they put money into the wealth account, which they're saving up that money in order to buy investments. Those investments are income generating assets. That is specifically what that person would be looking to buy. So that could be stocks and shares that pay a dividend, or it could be rental property, or it could be something that the person rents out. So for example, I had a friend of mine, he used to buy camper vans and rent them out. Someone else I know bought caravans and rented them out. I saw actually on YouTube, there was someone bought a Jenga kit and rented it out. So anything that generates an income, that could be classed as an investment. Obviously on this channel, I'll talk quite a lot about stocks and shares, dividend investing, because that's a nice, easy thing that anybody can get involved with and make a start investing and bringing yourself an income. And it is completely passive once you've started doing it. So let's have a little look how the money flows. The money comes in to your financial hub, your current account. From there, it goes automatically on the same day to all of your savings accounts, including that wealth account, which is obviously crucial for this plan to work. From there, the money goes happily into the savings accounts and stays in the savings accounts. From the wealth account, the money goes to the investments, where it duplicates and gets made bigger and comes back. So money is then thrown off the investments into the wealth account, where it is saved happily until it's enough to buy more investments. And that's how it grows. It literally compounds. That then leaves money in the current account, which will be enough money to cover all of the living costs this person's budgeted for, because they've done their budget and they're paying for things on their points or cashback credit card, and they can pay it off in full. Now, did you notice the little arrows red from the current account to the credit card? That's because temporarily you go into debt, but it's only temporary and you are paying it off in full each month, remember. Next, look at the rules for level 6. So level 6 rules. Savings accounts are paid into automatically the same day wages come in. Do not spend more than you earn. Earn points or cashback on the credit card. Credit card is paid back in full each month automatically. Money is saved in a wealth account until it is large enough to put into investments, and investments should be income generating assets. So that's level 6. Now, if you can make it to level 6 and if you follow just this system, this is enough to become financially free. There are millionaires that use this system. This is a good enough system to achieve that. Now, there are levels higher than that, which I will create in a future video. But this system, if you can just get to follow this system, you will be increasing your credit score, your credit rating will be improving because you've got your credit card under control, you are paying off in full each month, you're building healthy balances in your savings account, and you have assets that are growing and growing month on month, year on year, and they're bringing money in. So that compounds and gets bigger and bigger. So you literally become wealthier and wealthier just simply by following this one system. So if you can just get to this level, you have done better than probably 80% of the population. Most people do not have a money management system like this in place. I guarantee you that. Most people are lucky to get past level 3, I believe. Level 4 is, I would say, good. If someone's got to level 4, they've done good. So if you're at level 4, give yourself a pat on the back. If you can get to level 6, you're doing really, really, really good. So congratulations. Now, I hope you found this useful. If you did, thank you. Please remember to hit that subscribe button down below and give me a thumbs up. Other than that, thank you so much for watching, and bye-bye.